is going on there. Lizelle, thank you for staying up so late in Chiang Mai. So appreciate it. Lizelle has some of the cutest kids you have ever seen in your life. Lisa, love you, my friend. Thank you. I do a lot of business with both Lizelle and Lisa. And the vibe we are bringing is the vibe we bring every day. We get real. We're going to give you advice. And so enjoy, and I'll see all of you at 11:30.
Hey, Shell.
Yes.
I have to leave at 1 for another meeting. So,
Okay.
what time are you doing the hot seat? Because if there's someone else you want to,
Nancy, why don't we just meet one on one? And then I will choose someone else for hot seat coaching. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see all of you in a minute, like 30 minutes.
Great. And I'll stay close to my computer if anyone has questions in the meantime. See you all soon.
That there's something inside of you that's like, all right, it's going to be okay. That something's moving, something's shifting, it's pivoting. So this afternoon, for the next 45 minutes, we are going to focus on strategy, networking and strategy. Now, this is a huge topic, right? Then we're going to bring in 3 recruiters and they're going to talk for an hour and a half. Now, get your pens ready because they're going to be, depending on their energy, you're just going to hear a lot. Okay. You're not going to love all of it, but it's going to be very real. Um, Kelly, I'm so glad you have some action items. That's fabulous. All right. The biggest question that as a coach I get is how do I fast track my job search? How do I network with impact? How do I sound memorable? And your job as a job seeker or someone in transition is to be, and you can quote me, psychologically relevant to the recruiter. And what does that mean? It means that in your interview, in every step of the process, every interaction, every message, every message that you leave, every strategy is about how you solve the problems that keep me up on Sunday nights, how you figure out the solutions to the business. Where we are in this market right now is during COVID, we got to take care of our employees, right? We went through the Great Recession, job hugging now. People are holding on because so many people are being laid off. So we've had, if I just pulled this, over 40 headlines between the Great Resignation to job hugging to quiet quitting. And every day it's something new. And every day it's a new headline on layoffs, or I've been doged, or my company's laying off, or AI is coming, or whatever. So I'm not going to pitch a tent in that valley. What I'm going to do is I'm in Colorado, and there's a lot of executive coaches. There's millions, right? So, what is the value proposition that's different, that speaks to you and makes me psychologically relevant so that my branding, my go to market strategy worked for you to get here today, right? My brand is all about bringing more joy, impact, and success to your life. I do that through alignment of head, heart, and soul, and strategy, which we're going to talk about now, and wisdom. Okay. What I do is called embodied career DNA. And how many of you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram have seen the ads for the Human Reach or MoFal Consulting or lots and lots of job coaches that are paying for those ads, $50,000 to $70,000 a month to get your attention. Woo in work. How many of you have noticed those? Because I have. I've actually talked to AJ. I've talked to Mo. I've talked because I want to know what I'm doing about what I'm going to tell you is what's working to get their clients. But if you are answering those, they're great. They might have a solution because there is no magic pixie dust or magic wand that's going to give you the perfect answer. But what we're going to show you today are ways that get my attention as a recruiter that are getting my clients in front of people. All right. So just know that those ads you're seeing, they're not done through relationships. They're done through video. They're getting your attention, right? So what if you were to make a video? That might be an idea we taught about today. What if you had a reach out plan like they're reaching out to you on Instagram, like what Lizelle talked about on LinkedIn through social media? And if any of you are thinking, I can't, any of you having those thoughts right now, I just, it's not, what worked in the past is not working anymore. So I need you to come in today to, okay, I recognize my saboteurs. We learned about those earlier. And I've got to be curious and innovate differently and navigate this job search differently. Yes? Okay. So let me share my presentation with you right now. Give me 1 second. All right. It's so nice to have all of you back, by the way. Here. Okay. Let me know when you can see my screen. Yes?
It's loading. It
It
looks
just
like.
says, there we
There
go.
it is.
Okay. We're going to start with networking. Networking is still going to be your best friend. 85% of jobs are not going to be landed. And I think the number is even higher now. It's not just what you know technically or who you know, it's how you tell your story, what your narrative looks like. I am on the bench of coaches for Navigate Forward. It's a top 5 Midwest. So sometimes they call me, they're like, hey, can you take a client, all directors and above? I'm like, sure. Anybody in town who knows Dan Wegner, he recommended that I work there. So I'm now on their bench. I work with clients on their narrative. We spend 3 sessions just going over what is your story? Let's hone it in. Let's hone it in. Let's hone it in. We also work on your market game plan. All of my clients, we work on that. So networking has got to be your main job. For example, your day might look like I drop my kid off at 8. I'm going to go work out until 9:30. I come home and by 10, I'm working on my go to strategy value proposition. Here's the target companies I am going to focus on. Here are the titles of people I want to reach out to. If I don't know people, I'm going to find people who do know those people, and then I'm going to ask and provide them my resume and the messaging to reach out to those second tier people, right? That's just the basics. So as you're thinking about your strategy should not just be, I'm going to easy apply and click, because that's lazy. How many hundreds and hundreds of resumes are being sent out there? As a recruiter, I can tell you, we receive thousands of resumes. And you can ask all your questions in an hour when we meet with the recruiters, okay? So your strategy focus is really on being as targeted as you can. And everyone agrees that the most universal tip is that when you're networking, it is not about you. Let me repeat that. It's not about you. It's about you looking at the LinkedIn profile, finding something of commonality. Did you go to the same school? Are you in the same connections? Do you have the same finance transformation or HR leadership? Did they put a banner up that you really liked? Did they put a statement up that you can connect to? It's about getting their attention. Are they a foodie? Do they volunteer for a group that you really align with? Do they, whatever is commonality? I really liked your picture of your bike. Tell me about cycling. Your job is to find commonality and provide them and nurture that relationship. I'm really jumping in kind of quickly. So, a lot of people ask me, how do you nurture a relationship with someone? We will get there. So, I'm going to jump for a minute to if you know your companies, and I rearranged these slides because I wanted to bring up the most important topics first. Employee referrals, think about it. If you know someone that works at a company that you want to work with, ask them to refer you to a job. As a recruiter, I'm going to look at, I already trust the employee. Therefore, I'm going to trust who the employee sends over to me. This will help distinguish you from other job candidates and increase your chances of getting an interview or even an informational interview. 82% of employers out there use employee referrals to source for positions. Sometimes roles aren't even posted. This is how you get in front of people. I have several clients that have, hey, do you know this person? How do you help get me in? You've got to be, follow up is your best friend. So again, let me repeat, target companies, target messaging, being center of target. That's how you're going to focus and be really laser clear on who you look for. You can have different market channels. For example, you can, I know I'm really jumping here, but the more focused you can be in the center of your target, the more broad impact you're going to have. Let me repeat that. The more focused you are and the more a center of target, the bigger impact you're going to have because that is your niche. But many of you are like, well, how do I nurture relationships and how do I get niched down? That's where you need to spend more time. The more we get to know you, the more we can help niche you down. And there's no one like, oh, Pixie does do this. But if you know what you want, it makes it a lot easier in this market. And if you don't, that's where positive intelligence comes in and allows you to remove limited thinking and start to get closer to values and purpose. And then we hit your target. Okay. So referrals, if you have targets, ask for those referrals. I get asked a lot. Hey, Shelly, I see you know this person. Reach out and ask. Leave me a voice memo on LinkedIn. Does anybody know what I'm talking about by that? I'm going to show that in just a minute. You can actually
No,
leave a
that's
voice memo. Go to your phone right now on LinkedIn. Within your phone on LinkedIn, Nancy, who was here before, left me a message, sent me a note. There's a little microphone on here. If you push that microphone and then you push the blue, can you guys see what I'm doing? The blue button. Hi, Nancy. This is Shelly. It was really nice to have you here today. I'll follow up with you. You can leave voice memos for people. If you sent me a voice memo, hey, Shelly, it was really nice to see you and thank you for your presentation today. I see you know XYZ. Make it simple for me. What do you need to know? Why are you reaching out? What's in it for me? I want to make your life easier by whatever. That's one of the strategies. Don't just reach out to people and send them a message. Send them a voice message. We'll go through that in just a second. So if you know somebody in the company, your conversion rates are going to start getting higher. Your interviews are going to increase. Your confidence is going to increase. And your conversations to get in front of people will also increase. Because why? As a recruiter, if somebody that I work with knows someone, my turnaround time is going to go down. My time to fill is going to go down, right? Or be better. It allows me to focus more quickly on the know, like, and trust. So leveraging employee referrals is one of the ways of networking. Now, most of my clients know, and we have broad conversations around this. When you're networking, I want you to make a list of people that you already know that are in your comfort zone. Who have you worked with? Who have you not spoken with in 10 years? Who did you used to babysit, but that you haven't seen that you put out on a, like, we even have that today. Who have you really wanted to talk with in a while, but you haven't? Who is in your comfort zone? Now, that list is not just going to be important for LinkedIn. Another strategy that one of my clients is using is she has put together everyone in her comfort zone, everybody that she knows. She's doing weekly emails to her group. Every single week, she sends an email that includes, it was Halloween, and she sent out, just like Batman sends out his signal, I'm sending out my signal for help. I am looking for, here's how you can help me. There's a whole email format that she's using that is starting to allow her to be seen, recognized, and known. She's making it easy for people. Here are the roles I'm interested. Here are the target companies. Here are the job titles that I would rock. So, what have we learned so far? Comfort zone. We've talked about weekly emails to your comfort zone. We've talked about leaving LinkedIn voice memos. These are two things that you might not be doing that might make the difference for you. You've got to think very differently in this market. Okay. After your comfort zone is your stretch zone. Friends, colleagues of people. This is where the magic happens. This is where, when you are in an informational interview, you're having a meaningful conversation and you're meeting for coffee for 20 minutes. How do you make that meaningful? It's all about them. What challenges are you facing? What are your main obstacles? What pain points? And you're writing these things down, because in every correspondence, hey, I heard you say that this is painful for you, or that this is a challenge for your team. I saw this article, and then you send them the article. I noticed that you stated that you like to ski. Hey, did you see this ski deal? That is how you nurture relationships, not just with your comfort zone, but with your stretch zone. So, how many of you have actually used any of these strategies so far? Because I want to know what the efficacy has been for you.
Shall
Roseanne.
I have a really great example and would love some advice.
Nancy, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll make it quick. So I reached out to, let's see, we're not connected yet on LinkedIn, but personally, we share a lot of this similar friends. And after knowing her for a while, I realized she works at another division of a company I want to work for. And I said, hey, will you, and I'd been corresponding with the recruiter there months before. And I said, hey, will you reach out to her, even if you see her in the hall or whatever, and jog her memory, say we're connected. Or is there someone else in the company that you can connect me with? She said, well, we're in different divisions and I don't have time. So
yeah,
I was like, jaw drop, next. I thought that was kind of rude. And she's like, I don't have time. So would you pursue it or move on?
Personally, I might move on. Hey, thank you so much. If you happen to think of it, you're going to get that out there. And maybe it's a person, again, you never know what people have going on. Another example of that might be who else works with that person that you can reach out to and start to nurture relationships with. We're going to give you some templates here in a minute, but Lizelle gave you a template. I'm going to provide a couple, and then I'm going to turn it on its head and be contrarian and say, maybe we do it differently. I think that you can follow up to 3 times in general with people. Do not be persistently pesty,
Right.
but be proactive. And so I wish you the best. Thank you so much. I know how busy you are. If you ever do have time, maybe let's spend 20 minutes and I'll buy you a coffee. Your class and your ability to be psychologically relevant and professionally classy at every step you take, that's what you want to do, no matter what. Okay. So I know that there's tons of advice out there on networking, but I do find that your comfort zone, your stretch zone, and then your risk zone. There's several people on the call today that are in HR that I've either known, I've worked with, I've invited to different groups. That builds trust and rapport, but also long-term relationships that you never know where Christina's going to land. She's going to help Louie, who's going to help Galen, who's going to help Kristen, another Kristen client of mine, right? It's all about, you never know who's on the community call today that could help you. So if you haven't linked in with me or are not in part of my network, Adrienne, if you can actually put my LinkedIn profile out there, I'd love to be connected with you. This is how you start to build it. So we could spend hours on just this topic with templates, etc. But really start with those people you know, because people do want to help you, but they have to know how to help you. That's where, when you get in front of someone, it's got to be meaningful, it's got to be impactful. And 2 questions that you must ask is, whom do you know that I should know? And what can I do to help you? Who do you know that I should know? And what can I do to best support you? You have to think about the verbiage. Again, what is psychologically relevant? Help. Going back to imposter syndrome, people don't want to admit they need help. Change that word. What can I do to best support you? How can I be of service to you? That hits differently, right? Gosh, there's so much we could chat about. Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right. Asking for a referral. Again, this is in the stretch zone. Research who you want to know. I just got an email from a friend the other day. She's like, hey, Shelly, you know the head of GoDaddy Talent. How well do you know them? Would you feel comfortable doing a warm introduction for me? If so, here is the job that I'm interested in. Here is the messaging, and you can use AI to make it simple for yourself. And here's my resume. Do not make my job hard if I'm going to connect you to someone else. Again, hey, Shelly, I see that you're connected to. How well do you know them? Are you comfortable doing a warm intro? If so, here's the job, and here's my resume, and here's the messaging. Think about the response that would get versus, like, I know how busy you are. Do you have a job for me? I have people who reach out to me. Do you have a job for me? No, I don't. No, I don't. In fact, I'm going to block you because you have no professional courtesy. All right. Follow through is your best friend. When you're reaching out to people, I'm going to keep going because I want to get, here's some samples. You can cut, paste, take a screenshot, whatever. When I came to Denver, I sent out 174 in-mail messages on LinkedIn. I do recommend LinkedIn strongly. There's ways to get around premium, but I actually leverage Sales Navigator, and I reach out, and my clients reach out to a lot more client candidates, or a lot more hiring leaders and decision makers in that way. There's a whole strategy around that we're not going to get into today, but I'm more than happy to chat with you if you want to do a one-on-one. Here are a couple of things. I'm reaching out to seek your assistance. I noticed that you have a connection with this person at the company. Here's a brief summary, etc. When I reached out, I always put commonalities. I see that you're in human resources and you have been in Denver. I'm also moving to Denver. My background is this. I'd love to meet for coffee. Would you have 20 minutes? Now, contrary to that, you might actually reverse this. Another friend of mine is really interested in Pinterest. Her cover letter mentions almost nothing about her background, but through her research on her cover letter or her outreach, I see Pinterest values are these. I also notice that you have a business unit that's growing or this. She made it all about the company. I think either work, but I think in today's market, the more that you can make it about the business or the recruiter or the person you're reaching out to, the better. So maybe take this, and I haven't done this, flip it on its head, say you are a communications specialist, AI prompt, you are a communications specialist. I want you to do this from the perspective of the company and see what comes up. So try different methodologies. That's also new. If you're just cutting and pasting and cutting and pasting and cutting and pasting, people can tell. If you're AIing your way through everything, I can see that from a mile away. If you send me your resume and it doesn't have metrics, I'm going to ignore you. If you are not focused on exactly how you can manage, like build that relationship with me as the recruiter, I have other people that I can get to. I'm not trying to be too blunt here, but I'm like, time is money. And that is how sometimes it works. Okay. So let's actually talk about bleeding edge outreach. I talked about making a video. I have a client that did a weekly video log of her job search, and she put it out on LinkedIn. She started with, "Hey everyone, this is my weekly video log. I just want to let you know that I actually met with 5 people this week. I want to thank," boom, 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 name them in the message. Here's what I learned that's going on and bleeding edge in the market. Here's what's kind of hard for me that I could use some help with. And people started looking for her video logs out on LinkedIn. Another client of mine, like we talked about, did for her comfort zone. And as she added people onto her comfort zone email list, she sent out a weekly email to all of her network. "Hey, everybody, I'm looking for a new role." It's kind of like your one-page infographic or executive bio that you want to get in front of people as much as possible. Did you know that in order for people to really remember you, it takes 13 to 17 impressions? Meaning, I'm with you for 5 hours today. You watch my stuff on LinkedIn. You watch my stuff wherever. You look at my YouTube page. Consumers, just like you, are going out to Yelp and Google. And what are reviews? You're reading reviews. You're reading reviews on Glassdoor in the company. You're doing the same things for companies. Do you want to spend your time with those people? Those people are doing the same thing with you. So how do you get in front of them more often? Let's take a client journey here from you apply for a job and you hear nothing. You get ghosted. That's the majority. You look for a role and you send a note to the hiring manager and to someone that you know who works there, and you do like, "Hey, do you know this person? Is there a referral that maybe you can, let's chat, make sure that you know that I have the rapport and credibility and someone that you would want to refer." That's another idea. If you're asking for a second tier and they don't know you, spend time with them so that they get to know you, and then ask them, would you now be comfortable introducing me to this person? And what can I do for you? So, really, most of your time is spent making relationships within your target area. Hey, Dom, I see that you're here. Super excited to have you. We're going to get started with recruiters in about 15 minutes. Another thing that you can do is leave a LinkedIn voice memo. One of my clients, he's on today. He did LinkedIn Pro Finder request. He got dozens of responses because there are lots of us out there. I noticed that he was just returning to the US from Dubai, and I left him a voice message. I've lived in Spain and Mexico and Japan. I understand what it is to be an expat coming back. I feel like I would be a little different because I also went to Thunderbird, and here's what makes it different. That got me a phone call. That is what you want. You want to get in front of people face to face, a phone call, a lunch, a coffee, whatever. That is where you're going to make the biggest difference. So if you're applying, go ahead and apply to the role. Learn who on LinkedIn is in those roles. And if you know recruiters, recruiters can have hundreds of resumes. Are you the recruiter for this role? If not, do you know who is? And would you take 3 minutes to maybe send my info to them? Now, some recruiters will, some recruiters won't. But what I hope you've heard me say 3 or 4 times now is that you have to ask, who do you know that I should know? If you're not the recruiter, who is? Do you have any other insight to this position that might help me understand what the business is looking for? I know Dom and Elias are on the call now. Dom, since you're on, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you have any thoughts of like what gets your attention when people reach out to you that's different than what other people don't do? Like candidates that actually get your attention, what is it about them that got your attention?
They'll follow up with me and they'll send a intriguing message, something about maybe they'll know I'm a hockey guy, right? They'll connect with me on hockey, or hey, I seen Ohio State football. So just something quick to catch my attention, and then I'll just engage with them real quick and see what they're looking for, and if I can help or introduce them to somebody, I'm always willing to help. Even if it's
Awesome.
even if it's with a company that I don't work with, if I can plug somebody in, happy to.
Elias, what about you on this one?
So you're meaning something outside of an application for a job?
Yeah. For example, if somebody reaches out to you, what is something unique that people can do for outreach to actually get your attention as a recruiter?
Obviously, if there's like Dominic said, a personal something that is mentioned on LinkedIn, on their LinkedIn that you can touch on and try to build some sort of connection through that. That's always good. I always believe in, reaching out and asking for expertise, right? Asking for something that's in that person's wheelhouse, because I think most people like to feel like an expert, right? They like to feel like they know something. And I think most people like to help if they can. So if you give them a way to do that, that's easy, I think that's a way you may get better response. Like I get people reaching out all the time. Do you have any jobs for me? Go look on my website. Don't do that, right? But when people reach out and say, hey, I noticed you've, said this or that on a LinkedIn post about resumes. What do you think about this? When it's a specific question, it's a little easier, I think, to say, okay, maybe I can answer that. I have some feelings about that. So I think those 2 ways are pretty good ways to go about it.
Okay, awesome. I'm just going to interrupt this. Adrian, can you send Kristen the link again? She just texted me that she needs it sent to her again. Yes.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So another way that my clients are leveraging bleeding edge outreach is actually doing a campaign, a multi-channel campaign via LinkedIn, emails, social media, video, and other types of outreach. So there's automated Expandy or Waxily, I think that's what it's called, that you can use some automated. Let me give you an example. One of my clients, I think I mentioned her before, she's in market access for biotech. We got